Well, we're less than 2 weeks away from the next GOP contest, and it's Wisconsin. We're talking 42 delegates up for grabs. And Governor Scott Walker says he plans to make an endorsement very soon. Now, remember, he was I think he was the first to drop out of the presidential race. And, he saw the writing on the wall long before anyone else. But how does he feel now, and what difference will it make? Joining me now, Lisa Boothe, Ford O'Connell, and Gina Loudon. Gina, let me start with you. Because considering the momentum and what's after Wisconsin, it might be one of the last chances, maybe for Ted Cruz to pull an upset. Could Governor Walker help him do that?
I don't really think so. I think that, as you pointed out, he was one of the first people to leave the race. And endorsements in this election round, as you know, Charles, haven't been making a really big difference. And so I don't expect that Governor Walker's endorsement of anyone is going to make a very big difference, but especially considering that the widespread that there is at this point between Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, and the fact that, as you pointed out, the Northeast states coming next, I just don't see it making any big dent.
Well, Lisa, I think with respect to Cruz, listen, I know technically the math is there, but realistically it's not. His only hope would be some sort of contested convention, and he certainly would have to do well in this state.
Well, absolutely. And Charles, I wish I had said this quote myself, but Philip Bump of the Washington Post put it really concisely. And he said that this race isn't even about Trump against Cruz. It's really about Trump against 1,237, which, is the amount of delegates that a candidate needs to win to clinch the nomination, because the march to Cleveland goes on. And last night really didn't bring any reconciliation to this whole process, in the sense that Donald Trump carried Arizona extremely well, and as did Ted Cruz with Utah. They both had decisive wins last night. Now we head into Wisconsin. The latest poll by Emerson College has Cruz up by only 1, and then you head to New York. So the march carries on, and we're all just going to have to hang in there and take it contest by contest.
But Lisa, current projections say that Trump is not going to hit 1237. I'm not saying that after the Northeast contest he may not be back on track, but if you're Ted Cruz and you want to stop Donald Trump, you got to win Wisconsin. And 2 weeks is a political lifetime, and Scott Walker's pretty popular there. Basically, if Scott Walker's going to...
Alternatively,
let me make my final point.
Well, you also just interrupted me.
Go ahead.
The point is very simply this, is that if Scott Walker is going to endorse, he has to do it the Monday after Easter if it's going to have any effect.
Yeah, I mean, these weird after-the-fact endorsements keep blowing me away, too. But having said... Go ahead, Lisa, finish your point.
Sorry, just real quick. The point I was going to make is, look, we're heading into Wisconsin, which is a hybrid. So you get 10 delegates, I believe, for statewide, and the rest are allocated on a congressional basis. So Wisconsin's not going to be a decisive win. Yes, it could give Ted Cruz momentum heading into New York and onward, but it's not going to be any sort of decisive battleground, state right now.
Gina, I've looked at some math, and it looks like there's a chance that Donald Trump can win this thing outright before the convention without Wisconsin. Is that completely out of the question?
No, it's not out of the question at all. I think there are 42 delegates altogether available in Wisconsin. And then you've got 95 in New York State, Charles, that he should win handily. And then you move on to the Northeast states. And at that point, if something major doesn't change, Cruz's money is going to start to dry up. And also his votes are going to start to dry up. It's sort of the way that Kasich has. And there's going to be massive pressure for him to get out. So all the leverage that Ted Cruz is ever going to have in this election is right now. And I can't believe that anyone really believes that Ted Cruz in a convention would actually come out the nominee. The establishment, if this goes to convention, they are never, ever, ever.
So who would they pick? Are you saying, Gina, are you saying that they would pick Kasich then over Trump and Cruz?
Of course they would, Charles, and they may even try to put in their own person. But you and I both know the establishment has utter disdain for Ted Cruz first, because they have a history with him. Donald Trump, I don't think they really know, but I think they're just all afraid of him. So Ted Cruz and Donald Trump do not come out ahead. So what should happen right now is that if Ted Cruz wants anything to do with this election, he should use the leverage he has and join forces with Donald Trump. It's just the way it is.
Ted Cruz isn't going to have any problem raising money. He's raised a substantial amount of cash this election cycle. He is just fine on the fundraising point. But if there's no path to victory,
Lisa.
Well, let me just interrupt, guys, because we're out of time for this segment. But I will say, just the other day, Kasich got 4 billionaires to back him up. A lot of people throwing money at this. Most of them want to stop Donald Trump because he's going to stop the gravy train if the Trump train gets in the White House. And we know that. And we know that's what's motivating him. It's not that they love Cruz or anyone else. They're just so intimidated and afraid of lack of power.